How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the stream. Today we'll probably be working on some of the thumbnails for the next chapter of the Divinity, which should be chapter 15. And because of my setup right now, probably not going to be showing the previous chapter right now, but yeah, we'll go over that eventually. But I think it'd be cool to just kind of work on a chapter together as far as the thumbnail stages go again, so that'd be pretty cool. That's what I want to do, and I think for some people they could learn from it. So if you guys ever have any questions, be sure to ask them in the comment section below. Go ahead and share the stream real quick, or the link around. I'm only gonna pick like 2 places or so. That'll be good enough. Then I'm gonna get started. So I'll be right back. Alright, I've returned. Hope everyone's having a good day. Alright, so I have up like this this kind of, well, it's not a cover actually, but I have like some old sketch stuff up, whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and hide that. Go back to the one I was actually supposed to be on. Oh, I thought it was on. Oh, okay. Right. This is our cover. And I usually think of my cover last, honestly. So I'm more of an interior page type of person. So I'm always thinking about the situations that are going to happen there and everything, but for the most part, yeah, like, that's how I like to do things. But I'm gonna go ahead and scribble something random really quick here, so that'll be fun. Alright, cool. Cover. Finished. Exciting. But okay, so it's kind of like how I like to do my thumbnailing, these type of open page layout thingies, whatever. And they're like organized by 2 or separated like that. So each one of these are like in pairs of 2, so that I always know where to start at. And I usually like to start on the right hand side page. And yeah, so my scenario is pretty basic, right? Last chapter we know that there's a conflict. Someone is approaching someone with a weapon. So I'm going to be starting off this chapter with that scenario taking place, because that was the last thing that happened in the previous chapter. So to make sure that people aren't, confused, that's the first thing I'm going to be thinking about setting up the confrontation that was set up in the previous chapter. And that's going to lead us into a fight scene, So it's like the main first scenario, the fight scene. So we have I already wrote some of it, but we have our fight. I mean, technically we have, confrontation. You just might have to reiterate. So we have confrontation. Confrontation. And then we're gonna have our fight. Then we're gonna have the conclusion of that fight. And then we're gonna have our second group kind of show up at the end type thing. And I'm kind of thinking I might want to squeeze what happens with the other group of characters. So we have like group A. Group A set of characters, and we have group B. Basically same thing happens. So I know that I want most of this issue to be that fight scene and the confrontation and everything, so it's mainly going to be focused on group A, but I do want a certain amount of space dedicated to group B. I'm thinking at least something like at least something like 5 pages, you know, maybe 7, but I'm thinking at least 5 pages. So I like to also have fun where I like to break down things kind of like haiku or similar to it. So I like to think about things being introduced in 5 pages or less. Then the next part is like 7, and the next part is like 5 or whatever. Gives me a decent amount of pages in length of things. So my confrontation or whatever and into the fight, since they're already raring to go, they kind of already established some form of a confrontation. In the last part, it's not much of a confrontation in each, you know, the beginning. So they don't need to introduce each other and all that good stuff. They're gonna go from this to this very quickly. So that should give me what? I'd say a page. Doesn't need to be much more than a page there. Then we go into the fight. Thinking the fight will last at least something like 10 pages straight. So it's about 11-12 pages. So I'd say like 2 pages here. That wouldn't be fine. That wouldn't be bad. And then you have 10 pages for this. And then you have your conclusion, be like 1 page. And that gives us 13 pages. And then we have the rest of the chapter to go into what's happened with the other characters. And I like to try and end off my chapters with about 17 pages. So that gives me yeah, around what I want. It's about 4 to 5 if I want to push it there. I have enough to go off of on there. So yeah, that's what I want to go with. The other thing is I usually don't like to do double page joint first. I like to do the left page and then go into the double page. So the first page always ends up with a page turn. I almost forgot about that actually. So the first thing I like to do at this point is just reiterate to myself the plot, which I've kind of just done with you guys, of what's happening, or the beats of what's happening in this chapter. And now that I know the length of each thing, I can kind of just start mapping out each area. And I'm going to do that with just panels. I'm not even going to draw any like figures or anything like that down first. So yeah, I'm about to get ready and do that. Now some manga, what they do is they reestablish what they already previously established in the previous chapter or something in the beginning. I like to do that sometimes. I think it's fun. I don't know if I need to do much of that here. The other thing is like What if you don't come up with something as cool, you know? You're like stuck, you know? So, yeah. So I'm gonna start thinking about doing all that. So we got a guy. He has the knife. He's coming forward. They've already done the whole thing, so maybe I'll do it again. Kind of says the same thing. Maybe I can. Oh, I can switch the angle. I can literally just switch the angle of each moment. So when he lands or whatever, instead of us looking at him, you have it where as though like he's looking at them or something like that, and then they spin the camera around. Yeah. Let me think. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. You can end it off on one of these small, actually, yeah. Let me go ahead and add another one here. We can have like a bunch of like the characters looking at each other here, and then we can end off on one of these type of panels. It's one of those small panels where something happens. It's very quick. Make sure you turn the page. Then we get these two pages open here. And the fight can start. I'm gonna start doing tilts. A little bit of tilt here and there. Something like that would be good. Gonna start setting up an area where things are gonna get more difficult. Okay, reestablish the background here. So things kind of slow down, there's less panels. What I'm trying to do is trying to figure out the rhythm of this thing that's happening in my head. Which you obviously can't see, but essentially I'm going, there's a fight starting, you know? And as the fight escalates, things should get, you know, faster or something like that, you know? Things build, and it's not that one person is doing something quickly. There's supposed to be this feeling of the, I guess, back and forth. Someone's going to be winning a part of this fight, you know, based on how they operate in the beginning, and someone has to respond. They have to either defend, they have to run, You know, they have to make decisions. They maybe have to think about things. You have less time to think when a lot of things are happening. So, you know, all that type of stuff is what's running through my head. But what I'm basically doing is creating a rhythm. That's what these panels end up becoming, sort of a rhythm. So the first 2 pages here, it's kind of like simple. It's not too much happening here. Kind of thinking about extending some of it also, where we have a little bit more time, just a little bit more time, because it's not that serious of an event in a way. So I'm gonna take what I've done here, kind of scoot it over like 2 panels. Or 2 pages actually. Trying to see if I can extend this I guess monotony, is that? No, it's more like a slow pace, right? So I did a little bit of research on, like, you know, knife combat and whatnot like that, and I think that it's important to demonstrate some of that here with kind of like pages that have the mental state of the person that's about to get into combat, that they're thinking about, that type of thing. And by having that, I can essentially have the reader get in that state of mind before I start speeding up the combat, right? So something starts, things are normal, they're regular, right? You have 1, 2, 3, 4 panels here. I go back into another 4 panel joint, but I can also have it slow down. Trying to make something comparable consistently, where things fit together, at least these first 2 here to some degree, or technically 3, but things are going to start speeding up, and that's what I want you to feel. Put something here. Okay, so we have it where things kind of normal, things begin to speed up a little bit. As they speed up, we get into the mind's eye of the person that's getting into the fight. They're noticing the position of the knife, the direction it's going, whether or not this guy might be a skilled fighter or not, you know, how well the approach is, and what the intent might be, you know, how serious is this person? You know, are they trying to hurt them? Are they trying to warn them? Are they trying to actually kill them? You know, that type of thing. And the same could be said from the mind's eye of the person that's coming to attack them, if we do get that in there as well. Trying to figure out, you know, what their approach is going to be. How smart are they? You know, are they, you know, do they fit the bill for what they think they're about to confront? That type of thing. As we go, things become a little bit more claustrophobic. Things are taking up more space. There's a lot more reactions and things of that nature. And then we slow down a little bit as well. And this is only 6 pages right there. We have at least 4 to 5 more to board, or to kind of think about like this. And after that, we go over to the next area, or the next, you know, the next group, and what they're going to be doing. So I started tilts. Now I'm going to tilt the other direction. kind of using a tilt to kind of exaggerate the action a little bit more, but also shift the balance from one side to the other, right? So if something is going this way, I imagine it like, oh, now it's an uphill battle because our heroes, if you will, are entering the comic from right to left, or the manga, right, from right to left. So, the villain usually on that side, it is now an uphill battle, literally, if they're on some sort of incline and the hero is here, and they're having to fight the villain here, Things are already positioned for the villain to have an easier time, right? You could also think of it like a ball rolling down the hill, and there's a guy trying to push a boulder up a hill. It's pretty heavy, it's difficult, right? But obviously, if the person wasn't there, ball would just roll down the hill, and it would get faster as it got closer to this direction. So it's like a visual metaphor type thing, right? So next, we have this shift where things are going to get crazier, going in this type of skewed perspectives. Alright, until we do something like this, where the shift has completely happened, and yeah, right side has kind of won, if you will, and yeah, we're gonna have it where action kind of returns to normal, if you will. A little bit of talking. Here. I'll go ahead and write the thingies here. Okay, things should wrap up there. And then we go into... Actually, was that all the ones that I wanted to do there? I guess I could just add, what, 2 more pages? Yeah. We go ahead and number these. Okay, so at page 12 we gotta go and do this for the next 2 more pages. So we're gonna reestablish this dynamic, so we can go ahead and try to slow things down a bit, and by doing that we could just be like, okay, there is 3 panels here and there. If I just do it with 2 panels, then essentially, well, you'd have, I would say, once you do something where there's only 2 panels, that page is now competing for one of the most important panels in the comic, or in that chapter, right? Because like there's only 2 panels. That's literally half the space. You could make a bigger panel by just making, one of those pages, one of those panels really huge and another one of those panels on the same page really tiny. But still, it's visually very interesting. It's a balancing type of thing. Um, so I want to kind of figure out how to do it where it's not such a big deal. But then again, you know what? Maybe I'm there. Maybe I'm there. Maybe I should do something like that, where we're taking a look at characters we're following and how someone else is observing them, and that could be pretty interesting also. So we'll do something like that. Okay. And this should be the last one, I think. This is 11, 12, 13. So that was 2 more. Yep, and now we have the last ones, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm thinking that if I can, how would I do that? Do the usual thing where you half up the space, come into it here. So we reestablish again where we are. Okay. Sorry if I'm not talking, I'm actually really seeing this in my head, so I'm like, I know how this should go. Alright, so we're gonna have a little confrontation start. Gonna actually make it like a wide, what is it called, a wide camera angle here. So we can kind of get our characters in position. In the camera, see a lot of it. I might actually go for one other panel, or one other page with more panels. Hmm. Okay, so I kind of like the energy of that. Um, yeah, I like the energy of that. I think it's pretty cool. So now this is kind of how I start my my comic stuff at this point. Um, then what I do is go to the next part. The next stage is essentially looking over the script or the plot, whatever it is, and just adding in the shapes of the characters, props, anything that's important, and pop that in there, but only in simple shapes. Um, so again, right now, that's the next part, like simple shapes, blocking out, staging, where where your character is gonna be in the camera, all that good stuff. What's gonna happen next? What's gonna be in each panel, and yeah. So basically, like me doing it this way, like I said, it's establishing a rhythm. The rhythm also dictates, the momentum of whatever's happening inside the comic or inside the panels or whatever. Um, I'm making mostly like fight scene orient stuff right now. So it's important to know when you're going into the fight scene, what's happening in the fight scene, and also like who you can imagine having the edge in the fight at that point. Um, you're establishing a feeling before you even have an image. Know you want to start off with like your plot, and then you want to go, okay, how do I want this stuff to happen, and how do I want the reader to feel? When you're establishing those emotions with the situations, that's when you can really dive deep into the orientation of everything in your in your panels, in your scenes, in your shots. you know you want someone to feel sad while someone's drinking coffee or something. There's an approach to that. You don't just go, this guy's drinking coffee and he's or she's or they are sad. If you're watching a movie, they have music that they can use, right? When you're working on a comic, you can't leverage music in that way. You can leverage a lot of imagery. You can leverage exaggerated expression. You can leverage previous things that you know about the character, right? What if they're like, yo, I'd never drink coffee unless someone I loved died or something like that. And then after you go through the motions with them of them losing that person, the next day they go out and they literally just sit there and they're drinking the coffee, and it's like, oh man, like I paid attention. I know what they're leveraging here. This makes me sad or something. Like whatever it is that helps sell that moment. That's what you do. It's not just getting the moment across. It's selling the mood, the atmosphere, the emotion, the characterization, right? How you want to display that character. If you want to display them as always cheerful or playful or a genius at combat, whatever it is, that's what you're selling. You have to keep that character consistent. A person can't be, if you make a main character and you're a genius at combat and you drop the ball on that, your readers are gonna notice because they read it to see them be a genius at combat, right? Um, it's what happens. So you have to stay up on whatever you depict someone as. So let's go. I'm gonna go ahead and stretch a little bit. Hopefully you guys are staying hydrated and whatnot. And yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna reestablish the panels from the last chapter. See here, I have them up on my computer. See here. Oh, I don't. Oh, yeah, I do. Alright. Cool. think the thing that's really like particular about this scene is, well, the location. It's kind of like in a back alleyway type thing. There's this cool building that this guy just jumped down or ran down. And this dude has these very distinct knives that he throws and seems like he can also fight with, like try and cut you or stab you or something. Other than that, I mean, they're wearing like white outfits with with like stripes and blocks of, shapes on it. That's pretty recognizable, and he's kind of wearing all black, except for his shoes. That's about it. So, good thing is pretty recognizable in that way. So we have these two guys here, and we're gonna just reestablish this moment again. So we have gonna have these people move out the way. And that's all I'll do for panel 1. Okay, so I'm gonna have this like strike the ground here. So we'll tilt camera a little bit and be like, yep, this is where this joint landed. Of course, we lose a bit of the tip there. It's there. And boom. And this guy is, say he's running down the wall. Maybe there's a shadow. Sound effects of him running down the wall. Blurry filter or whatever of the characters kind of looking on at him as they have jumped back. And we're gonna have our landing, so we could just have it where these guys right here, he has landed, he's like this, and that's interesting. Actually, I'm drawing that wrong. It's like this. Get our focus lines. You're gonna also do the flipping it around scene from here. Gonna have him move his hand. And he's gonna catch it. Cool. And we're gonna have it where he's looking at that now. And he has the knife coming towards the screen. Cool. And the thing that I'm also trying to utilize consistently here is the knife. It is our consistent object at this point. Knife. You know, it's there. He flips the knife around, he catches the knife. He has the knife in his hand. And I'm kind of doing this thing where it's like, you know, he comes in, you know, they kind of move away from it. So it's not like perfectly lined up, but there's this consistent object. Kind of flows similar to that. Next we go into these pages here. How long has it been now? I wonder. And yeah, this is mainly for just like, I like to share my process with people. Oh, thank you, Hand Avatar. I'm so sorry. I did not see that. Move this thing in front of me better. But yeah, thanks for coming by and checking it out. I just figured, you know, I like to teach. So whenever I do these streams and I have the time, I'm gonna tell people what I'm thinking about while I'm doing it. Also, I've been really trying to get better with simplifying things. It's like when you learn how to draw and people tell you need to get better at drawing, you go, okay, I need to show off, but you know, I need to show I can draw some stuff, you know. And the next thing you know, you're detailing something that no one will ever see, you know. I'm always trying to get better with that. Okay. The other thing that'll be consistent is, obviously, our villain or our person giving us opposition. They're in the opposite color of us or the opposite style of clothing than us, right? Something I learned from like kung fu movies or old school Jackie Chan films or something like that. You can help the person watching it easily understand what's happening by just making sure that the main characters, or the heroes if you will, are just easy to identify. If the villain is wearing similar clothing, similar style of clothing, similar color, shade, value, scale, range, you know, they're doing all that, they could look or be easily identified as the main character, and then everyone's confused when they're watching, you know, this stuff. And you know, we're working on comics, so these techniques technically still apply, definitely, if you're working in color, but even more so if you're working in black and white, because you know, you don't have that extra thing to rely on or rely upon. So here we have the guy who has the knife. He's coming forward and he's going to establish himself as a, you know, a threat, and we're gonna see what these guys do to deal with him. So we got bad guy over here coming from this direction, has knife up. Actually, That's in the wrong hand, isn't it? So he flipped it over to his left hand. And if I'm looking there... Aha. Alright. And that's another thing you gotta be consistent with. It's something that I wish I was better at all the time, but catch yourself early. It's a lot better than not catching yourself at all. You have to actually manage, you know, what hand they're holding the knife in and stuff like that. The other thing I notice is so many people are right-handed that as soon as you make a left-handed character or make them use their left hand, things just get really wonky because you don't have enough footage of someone doing anything with their left. It's kind of weird. Okay. Gotta get something there. Alright. And we're gonna have, so we are gonna establish the ground plane. So something I always try to remember, actually, it doesn't even matter right now. It matters if I'm actually going into it completely. But essentially what you want to do, again, I could just do this right now and it will be fine, right? But when you're drawing faces and you have a little square or rectangle or panel to draw them in, draw the whole face, please. Just draw the whole face. Just do it, because once you draw the whole face, you'll realize, oh, my proportions are off with that eye. You know. Which you won't care about or notice if you have the thing like that close and you're thinking about space and losing it. You gotta use the space and create. You gotta create a good face. If you create a good face, you use that over and over again. All I'm gonna do is just blow this up. You could literally just grab this part of the face and just use it at this point, actually. Like that, right? That's another thing. Where was Samara? The end of this panel. She was here. Alright, cool. I was right. And of course I changed it. It's funny. Alright. Does it matter if I changed it? Still easy to be consistent with it. Okay. Aha, I tricked myself. He actually flipped it into his right hand. Alright, so it's funny. Alright. Actually liked it better in his other hand. It's funny. There. It's in the... Yes, and he flipped that to his right. Yep. Alright. I see something here. I'm gonna go ahead and mute my sound. I'll see me hub. Alright then, I have returned. Your kid wants to give you a hug, you giving him a hug. Or you should anyway, yeah. So, right hand. It's in his right hand. When I was a little younger, I would have messed this up. I'm trying to get the stuff right in the earlier stage of development, like this. To me, this is... Oh, whoa, what was that? Okay, same thing. So this is my thumbnail stage, right? This is the thumbnails. Next stage after this is my roughs or my storyboards. Me actually going through and adding a lot more details in there. My storyboards will look, well, more like storyboards. If you've ever seen really dope storyboards, I recommend, like, you know, Tokyo Godfathers. It's not fair with how clean those joints are. They look really good. They're really nice. I'm also a fan of Katsuhiro Otomo, and I just copped the Akira storyboards part 1. Been just carrying this thing around every now and then, just looking at it. But yeah, those are the two I would say check out. But check out any of the storyboards you can find online. You know, look up a show that you're interested in, see what those storyboards look like. Obviously, I'm a comic book artist or manga illustrator or whatever you want to call it. So I know that my storyboards need to go as detailed as I need them to. Since I'm the person inking and finishing my stuff, I don't always need to go as hardcore as far as detailing goes on that step, but I can, and sometimes I choose to, you know. Alright, so this guy has it in his right hand. Cool. Okay. Should have some thoughts here. And I kind of want to have like a up close, like grabbing of the knife here, and I mean, since you're the reader, you know, I don't want him to like stab the character. I want him to stab you through the page, right? I want you to feel the threat. So that's what I'm kind of prioritizing here. So here we go. See here, do like that. Cool. Let's see here. I've looked at about like 3 or 4 videos on just not like choreography necessarily, though that's great. I know it's the easy option, but I was just looking at, realistic knife defense, realistic, trying to block a knife essentially, or stop yourself from, how to confront someone with a knife type thing. Because I take some of what I do, somewhat seriously, and I'm just like, what would that be like in real life? What would it actually be like? In not the clean way that I've seen in martial arts all the time, but what would it realistically be? And I was looking it up because I remembered someone was like, yo, it's impossible to completely get around someone with a knife. Like, you're going to get cut, you're going to get stabbed. It's just how much type thing. Yeah. And I was just like, word, like, let me go look that up, because even though I'm creating this adventure fantasy, action series, I want to kind of put a bit of like caution in there to be like, like, my characters, they may have something fantasy or whatever about them, but I'm trying to give them some feeling of tangibility here, some feeling of they're taking people who use weapons a certain amount serious, and they know about, certain things, so they react the correct way to some degree. Yeah. Okay. Hmm. Okay, right. So, I again don't want to be too detailed with any of this, honestly. It's cool and all, but kind of want to rate these so that, you know, they get done, I guess, a certain amount of quick, and also, how you say, I can change them quickly as well. That's important, right? To be able to kind of change these very fast, is very important because we're gonna create things that we're not gonna like. We want to be like, no, and immediately change them that quickly, right? Just gonna bring this over. Gonna have things centered. Hmm. Hey, how's it going, Midnight Skies? Hello. Thank you. Just kind of been breaking down my process of working on comic pages and sharing it with everyone. I hope that people can learn something if they would like to. Trying to find a good angle for this. This is a good one. Got the torso here. Okay. Those really skewed angles where, let me see. I think I can do that there. I think I just have to start up here. I need to get better at that actually. It's kind of like, the head gets a lot bigger here. Something like that. I will find a reference if I need to, but not right now. Yeah, so we're building tension, all that good stuff. Things feel like they're slowing down, a lot is happening, a lot of panels, so it kind of slows us down despite less things to read. It still feels like things are kind of in slow motion. When you give people things to read while action is going on, I would say things kind of break up a different way, where it's in slow motion, but at the same time, it's even slower. It's like your brain goes, oh no, this is what that person's thinking about while this stuff is happening at the same exact time. So in a way, it moves slower because you had the chance to read all that information. Like it's a bunch to read. But then it kind of reverses in a way. It's like, come on, no one could possibly have thought of all this stuff in those little itty bitty increments of seconds, you know, where this one action happened and this other action happened or whatever. So it's weird like that, but yeah, this stuff right here, slow motion, not very much thought or thought bubbles or words are popping up right now. Very small amount. trying to build up all that type of feeling, while the character's trying to fight off his attacker and kind of make sure he doesn't hurt himself while this person has a knife. Oh, thank you. Actually, like fight scenes as well. They're really fun to look at and study sometimes. Makes me feel bad about like the comic book artists that had to work back in the day when they didn't have like stuff like YouTube, so they had to actually have studied that movie that they were referencing, or just have a copy, or have the photographic memory. Like, it's a lot harder to do that. I guess they could just be watching TV or something, but for the most part, they just had to remember what that movie was like that they enjoyed, that they wanted to reference, you know? I'm just trying to make these things as clear as I can make them on a thumbnail face so that I can just move on, honestly. I just need them to be just clear enough. Like, I could also, like I said, choose to like change these, so I don't want to spend too much time on them, but just enough time to where as though I can always tell what I drew on a basic level. Okay, so I have made a mistake. And the mistake is details, right? It really zoomed in on details and stuff like that, but essentially still kind of meeting my goal of kind of making things that work and you can tell what's happening type thing. So that's the good part. I'm also establishing space. Got the bad guy consistently, quote unquote bad guy, you know. I got the guy going against the main character on the left hand side. I keep the main character or the main characters on the right hand side. For the most part, right? For the most part. To make sure that everybody knows where everyone is. I'm also playing around with size, shapes and sizes and stuff like that. When I have a really good looking panel or a page or whatever, I'm trying to give a certain amount of small, medium, and large shapes. I'm blocking things in like that. This guy's kind of moving his arm all the way back here. So, just on a more dynamic pullback pose here. I don't like that per se. It's not bad, it's just no. Really over here posing my body. Like, how do I make this pose? Can understand a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna lift his arm all the way up here. don't like that. I'm gonna keep trying until I can get something I like here. That's pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, how's it going, Tay? How's it going, man? All right. So far, this is kind of how we're going. I like it pretty much. And the best part about this is you can just easily change all of it, honestly. And the funny thing is that after creating the layouts or whatever, the panels, I didn't create a new layer for some reason. But you know, it's all good. All right. So at this point in the fight or in the confrontation or whatever, there should start to get ready to be a shift, right? Right now things are kind of on a certain rhythm. Halo's trying to block this knife successfully and just keep up momentum and stay back, you know? How you been, Tavon? Living the dream? Word? This man said, living the dream. Same like eyeline thing going on here. Easy to read. The camera's kind of spinning around. I don't have it where it completely turns around, so it's slow. You know, go back of the head. We turn around like this. We make it here. And then we essentially are straight up front right there. I'm also zooming in, right? Like, face is probably about this big. Then we get a little bit bigger here. And then we get even bigger close up right there. So I'm just, you know, there's some smaller elements here. Then we get medium sized stuff here. And we get in close ups. Just trying to keep it interesting while I'm telling this story. You got new controllers as well? Are you talking about Wii controllers? Wait, Wii controllers? No, Switch control. Yo, am I okay? Am I good? Wii controllers? I mean, if you got Wii controllers, that's what's up, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I was like, wait a minute, you mean Switch controllers? No, Xbox and PlayStation. Oh, word? Nice. And a new mouse and keyboard. Nice. Are you thinking about doing some PC gaming? I need more money to be a PC dude. Oh, word. Well, the money you need, I hope you get it, because I haven't done PC gaming for very long, but it is very fun. And I don't know, it's a lot better for your money in a way. Pace is not good, but that's okay. We're gonna work on it. Alright. Alright. Well, this is what I was able to do on stream today. And I think that's pretty cool. We came up with all the rhythms for all the different panels and everything like that. And kind of started working on the fight scene stuff, confrontation. And started to kind of get towards the rhythm change, right? Where now, you know, we had to establish where it was going to happen. And I did it here, right? Where it's like, oh, Halo's like trying not to get stabbed, right? And, you know, here, you know, we cut back to Makim, you know, who's having this thought in his head about probably how he's annoyed that this dude is kind of, you know, that Halo's toying with this guy and that they really got stuff to do. Why is he messing around? And then boom, we get this smirk on his face, catches this dude's arm again. We shift the camera behind this dude. We have, you know, the opening in Halo's like cloak on the arm that he's not using. It kind of shifts like a shift, and then he uses that arm while he's holding the guy's other arm to punch him essentially. And this guy's like, yo, what? Like, I thought I was doing something. Like, you serious? Like, you know. So so that's what I got going on so far for this. I use some references from video footage of people attacking people with knives for this. So it's pretty accurate to how different approaches someone can attack you with a knife. Notice Halo isn't doing this amazing looking blocking that just takes care of everything. It's very much situational where he's just trying to block and trying not to get cut, which I thought that added a bit of realism there. And he's just trying to safely stay back and not get stabbed. He's not doing anything cool in these parts, you know. Luckily, he was able to grab this dude's arm, you know, the arm that he's using the knife with, and start to be able to attack him. Notice, dude still has the knife. He punched him. So, you know, things aren't going to completely drastically change just because he hit him. It's just that he was able to hit him, right? So, yeah, we get a little bit of status. We understand this guy is not, he's not foreign to being attacked with all types of different things, definitely a knife. Essentially presenting, hey, this is my character. This is how they're built, you know. They take things seriously. Sometimes they play around. You have another character who's a little bit more serious, obviously. So I'm kind of giving you character understanding and consistency. I'm giving you guys a new character and how they go at things and what they're thinking about. I'm establishing consistently that the villain or the antagonist is on the left side of the panel or the panels, where the main characters are consistently on the right hand side, so they stay kind of in a place where you can consistently register who's who. guy who's the antagonist is wearing dark clothes, guys who are the main characters wearing lighter clothes. Yeah, this is how I approach doing scenes or even fight scenes. If anyone is looking to learn that type of thing, I got some tips in this video if you're paying attention. But other than that, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and head out. Be sure to subscribe if you like the content or the footage, the stuff I'm putting up. If you guys want to learn anything, please send me a message on anything. I'm Altrodesi, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Peace, everyone. Oh yeah, and read the Divinity on webtoon. Yeah. Alright, everyone. Yeah, thanks, Kai. Appreciate it, man.